Greetings, Soul Tribe. So, I have learned a whole lot more since the last time I have recorded anything, which was just 2 weeks ago. But at any rate, yeah. So I've learned a lot more in the past 2 weeks that I have been studying, like a freakishly amount of a lot more. So first off, I want to start by asking a question. What if all of reality, meaning all of the people in reality, shifted from illusions to reality? Just a simple question. May not be as impactful as it should be right now, but check it though. What if all of the people in reality, all of the people of the world, shifted from their illusions to reality? How you do that? You shift from the devil to God, because God is reality itself. God is nature. Those are some things I've studied. Those are some things I've learned. Melanin is God, bro. Melanin is a piece of God, or an aspect of God. God is not complex. God is very simple. Life-giving energy, period. Devil is simple. Death-giving energy, period. I have studied and studied some more. I have also found that the Greek mythology, whether you want to believe this or not, it's up to you. Greek mythology is real. All of the pantheons, all the mythologies, all the pantheons, the Japanese pantheon, the Greek pantheon, all of these things were real. All of those things were real. See, here's the thing. Everything that involves the origins of humanity, like all of the information that involves the origins of humanity, will step you in the territory of religious beliefs. They all will. Anything that talks about reality or the origins of humanity or how we got from where we were in our past to where we are today will step you in the territory of religious beliefs. They all will. Now, whether you want to believe that the Greek mythology or the Greek myths are a religious sect or not, whether you want to believe they're religious babble or not, there's information within it that can help us comprehend our starting point, humanity's starting point. You follow what I'm saying? Humanity's starting point can be comprehended through the Greek mythology, the Greek pantheon, or the Japanese mythology, or the Japanese pantheon. You follow what I'm saying? Know these things. What we've been told about Zeus, the Greek god Zeus of lightning and whatnot, all lies. I gotta get a foundation set up. That's just my personal life though. Stick to my conviction here. So, the Greek god Zeus, right? The Greek god of lightning and whatnot, he was actually killed off way earlier on in the story. Actually, there's a story about in the Seven Hills of Rome that talks about how the Capitoline Hill was named what it was because in their formation or in their coming to that building to form things or to set the foundation or to settle their plans and their agendas, they found a guy's head in there. That head was Zeus. That was the head of Zeus. Why do I say this? Because there are stories involving the Greek god Zeus that says in order to give birth to Athena, his head had to be split open. It's a weird story. But then they say that Zeus is immortal. Then they also said Zeus had a whole lot of concubines. They said Zeus was a Rolling Stone. They talked about Zeus like he was a Rolling Stone. Papa was a Rolling Stone. You ever heard of that song? Papa was a Rolling Stone. That's how they referred to Zeus. Outside from his Beast Boy Teen Titan shapeshifting capabilities, like I said, the entire story is ludicrous. It's all ludicrous. But at any rate, it's just Black History perverted. But here, moving forward, in Zeus's story, right? It said that Zeus had his head split open to give birth to Athena. What's the process of this? Zeus' first wife, before I believe the other one's name, it start with an A, I think. I got to look it up again and memorize it. But Zeus's wife, right? His first wife, in the battle when he was fighting against the Titans and whatnot. His first wife was the one her name was Metis, M-E-T-I-S. That's how you spell her name. Zeus's first wife, he got her pregnant. And then they had a baby, Athena, right? Or they didn't have the baby yet, because there was a story going around in the world of Greek mythology, or in the Greek pantheon, that says, hey, listen, just like your father, Kronos, the child or son of yours is going to conquer you and overthrow you. You follow what I'm saying? That was just a fear-based story that was put into his heart, or put into his mind, heart space. Never even happened. Want to know why it never happened? Because Zeus was killed way earlier on, around the time he had that first wife of his, Metis. I don't think Zeus was immortal. I mean, he could have been, sure, but where is he now? Because immortal things don't die, right? So what, are all the immortals petrified or something? Turned to stone by Medusa? Is that what's going on here? Any rate, Japan has a lot of mountains, don't they? Yeah, they do. Random thought. But Zeus's story is a lie. Zeus was never... What am I ultimately getting at here? Because of in the story, when Zeus heard about this son that's going to overthrow him and kill him and whatnot, he turned his wife, Metis, into a fly and ate her, according to the story. Ludicrous. Craziness. So you mean to tell me Zeus, the god of thunder and lightning, has the powers of Beast Boy from Teen Titans? That's what you want to tell me. That's what you want me to believe, right? You just want me to believe that mythological story? Well, see, here's the thing. It's myth, right? It's myth. It's not supposed to be metaphor. Why does the story exist then? Why does the story exist? Do I take the story seriously? I don't really care, man. I just want to go over there. But at any rate, the story though, yeah? Somehow he has the powers of Beast Boy from Teen Titans, and somehow he also has the power to turn other things into different animals and creatures. He has the power to morph people outside of his own self into insects, which is what he did to his first wife to prevent some kind of prophecy from being fulfilled in regards to his father Kronos, right? So, he gathered a group of his people there because he was having some kind of headache, he said in the story. And the gentleman there, I believe it was Poseidon was one of them. I got to look at it again to memorize the names, yo. These names, all these names. They were called in there to split his head open with an axe. To chop his head open with an axe so that not Metis can come flying out, but Athena, born as a fully grown woman, can just be born from his head. That story is real. I guarantee you it is. I am not making this up. But when you look at it logically, whether you are immortal or mortal, it makes no difference. If your head gets split open, are you going to recover from that? I mean, your abilities to regenerate are deriving from your brain. So how are you going to recover from a head injury to the degree? They decapitated him and killed him and took over his position. And then Athena was the mother of harlots throughout all of the Stone Age period, up until the Bronze Copper Age period, with the name of Zeus plastered all around it. That's what I'm believing right now currently. Athena being the mother of harlots, being the devil herself, or being Sophia as well. Me personally believe this. Athena was, like I said, she's the one who had all those concubines. So what, should we turn all of Zeus's wives and flip them into men or something? Like, what should we do here? You know, what's I don't know necessarily right now currently, but I'm still figuring it out. And the more I figure it out, the more I'm gonna give us an inner foundation to stand on and walk on, so we can get out of this hell and go home. Go over there, because over there is out of Hellenization. Hellenization is what they called it before colonization. It don't matter what you say. I've seen the information. That's what it says. It was called Hellenization before it was called colonization. Moving along. So, out of hell, right? These stories are going to give some inner foundational structure to construct your movements in the external world that involves you escaping the hell of the devils, a world of lies and illusions, to a world of truth and satisfaction. Moving along. So, Athena, yo. Athena is the strategic goddess of war, and also the mother of harlots, and also Gaia, and also Sophia, and also Isis. Athena, the Greek goddess, is an immortal woman. Athena was also two, because here's the thing, just changing her names up. Athena was also Roma. Roma, the principle of Rome. The principle of Rome. This is how she was born. Born from the skull of Greece. Skull of Zeus. I don't necessarily know how that's possible. It sounds like a ludicrous story, because I'm quite sure it is a ludicrous story. Just crazy, just scribble scrabble all over the place. But the main thing I want to take from it using a logical perspective is this. All the primordial Greek gods, all the Titan Greek gods, and all the Olympian Greek gods all existed during the Stone Age. They all existed as our kind, our people during the Stone Age. Melanated people. This is why I keep telling you, this is why I keep saying, all of our history, especially the religious history, is perverted black history. So yeah, again, the primordial Greek gods were black or melanated. I don't like calling you black at all. The Olympian or the Titan Greek gods were all melanated. And the Olympian Greek gods. 3 generations of gods. First the primordials, then the Titans, and then the Olympians. The Olympians is what Zeus was supposed to be. But Zeus was the son of Zeus is the son of a Titan though. Kronos. And all of them, virtually everybody, comes from the primordial Greek god known as Chaos. The primordial Greek god known as Chaos is where all the primordial gods come from, according to the stories. It's called Chaos, or it's called Apiron. Apiron or Chaos. Apiron or Chaos. Apiron, yeah, like something just appeared on it. Yeah, that's what it sounds like. But at any rate, according to the stories, the primordial Greek goddess Gaia was born first from Chaos. Remember that story I had about the ethereal grandmother? The ethereal grandmother would be Chaos. That's what would be Chaos, the ethereal grandmother, according to how I'm connecting the dots here. Our ethereal grandmother is Apiron, or Chaos. That's our ethereal grandmother, whom Gaia was born from. Who was Gaia, though? Gaia, according to the stories, they say is the planet itself, right? But then they also got some stories where it says there was a primordial Greek goddess named Gaia that was born with the planet at the same time of the planet's birth. So are you trying to say that Chaos essentially had 2 Gaias, one good one and one bad one? In so many ways, yeah. But here's the reality, or here's the thing though. Gaia is just Gaia. There is no other Gaia. The primordial Greek goddess Gaia is just Gaia. There is no other Gaia. So that means the planet is just a planet. Whereas the primordial Greek goddess Gaia is the mother of harlots. Yeah, the primordial Greek goddess Gaia is the mother of harlots. And then on top of that, also too, what I've learned, just going off of what's possibly logical, Tartarus, the primordial Greek god Tartarus, was the first man. Where am I getting all this information from? Or how am I accumulated this? Right now, currently, I am studying on the origins of every country in the world, the establishment dates of every country in the world. And it led me to the Paleolithic eras, and it led me to the Neolithic times, and it led me to the lower Paleolithic. What are these Paleolithics? What are these Neolithics? What are these lithics? What is this, right? They talk about the Stone Age, they talk about the Bronze Age, they talk about the Copper Age, and they talk about the Iron Age. You dig what I'm saying? The Iron Age was where the weapons of mass destruction, from what I'm gathering right now currently, were being generated. Weapons of mass destruction getting ready to be used to destroy our people. And it appears that the very, very first place that was conquered was Greece. It seems like it so far from what I'm studying. The very first place that was colonized and or Hellenized was Greece. That was the very first place. After Greece, it was Rome. Then after Rome, the Roman Empire was built. which had North Africa, it had Egypt, it had Rome. The Roman Empire was the size of a country with like 5 other countries inside of it, or more. You follow what I'm saying? All of these things happening and transpiring around the time of 1700 BC. Well, not 1700 BC, the 8th century, the 8th century BC, the 8th century BC, because Rome, according to the things that I've studied, Rome had its first encounter by the recessives in the year 753 BC. The recessives had their first encounter with our people in the year 753 BC because our people were living in Rome without being touched by them in the year 1700 BC. You dig? So, with that being said, the recessives are immigrants, illegal immigrants all across the planet. And everybody already knew this though. They are illegal immigrants. But hold on though. If everything came from the same nature being used against the same nature, wouldn't that make these so-called white people a part of our nature and, you know, just maybe a corrupted piece of our nature being used to just harm us for no reason at all? That's exactly what that would make them. But y'all ain't ready to accept that truth. Y'all ain't ready to accept that the white people, so-called white people, came from our people, grafted into theirs. Y'all ain't necessarily ready to accept that. Y'all ain't necessarily ready to accept the truth like that. That it's our people being used against our people. So you have to be built up to it, because you have to know as much as possible that, I'm gonna just say this real quick. The so-called Stone Age began about 3.4 million years ago. 3.4 million years ago, the so-called Stone Age began, according to the information that's on Wikipedia and Briticom or Britannia, something like that, some British website. It sounds like an English-British website, but those two websites right there, Britannia, something like that, Britannia, and Wikipedia, just those two websites let me know that the so-called Stone Age started about 3.4 million years ago. Our people ruled the entire world for that entire time before there was ever a colonization or a Hellenization mentioned. We were the first everywhere. We were. We were so first that every country name that the so-called colonizers or Hellenizers used to brand all of their Germanic tribes and all of their Turkic tribes and all of that stuff, all of those names that they were using to enslave our family body within those periods of time came from us. That's how first we were. We are so first that none of the names they even have or use for any of their purposes even belong to them. None of them. That's how first we were. That out the way. Yeah? Let's talk more about it though. Then I'm going to lead to my next point. Because like I said, right now, currently, I'm studying on the names of all the countries in the world. This is for my conviction's sake. I should be to the M's or through the M's by now with the Maldives and Mali and Malta. But I'm just making it to the Kingdom of Serbia. Even though Serbia should be in the S's. Did you know that Serbia was called Yugoslavia in 1929 AD? AD stands for Anno Domini, Greek, Latin, and/or Roman for in the year of the Lord. Did you know that Greek and Latin, those two originated, well not originated, but they were kind of brought together and now sort of made as the same language source? That's what I was trying to do. Yeah, did you know that? So that means Greco-Roman and Latin, because don't forget, the Italian peninsula is where Rome is stationed, or where Rome is, you follow me? The Italian peninsula. The Italian peninsula. This is an interesting thing I read before I even go on to what I was going to talk about as far as more country names. Here's an interesting thing. It said that The Italian peninsula was first inhabited, about 48,000 years before present. There's also information out here that talks about in the lower Paleolithic period, the lower Paleolithic means the end of it, going towards the Neolithic. And then after the Neolithic, you have the Bronze, Copper Age, and Iron Age. I believe that's how it's set up, or were they all one and the same thing? But I just know that the Neolithic was a revolutionary period. New metal, so to speak. Because don't forget, in our days, we had higher technology in the Stone Age. The Stone Age was not, what's the word? Primitive. The Stone Age was not primitive. You follow what I'm saying? There was nothing primitive about the Stone Age at all, where we were in charge of everything. We were at our most powerful state possible for 3.4 million years. It took you that long to destroy our species, huh? Not talking to the so-called white people, because they didn't exist until about 6,000 years ago. Some of you say they existed in this, they first started spawning in the 15th century. No. They go back further than that. They go back 6 millennia. The so-called white people do, yeah? So check it. We were told, in my studies, according to the Origins of Germany, we were told that our people started giving up on the original ways about 50,000 years ago. Billy Carson has information out here that talks about how the Anunnaki arrived 200,000 years ago and were experimenting on an existing hominid. He was right. And if this is actual factual information, what I'm kicking out here, then those Greek gods were the primordial or the entities, the existing hominid that existed before Adam and Eve. Because there are also some stories that say that Pandora was Eve. But who did they say Adam was? I haven't necessarily validated it yet, but I'm going to validate it. But they say Eve is Pandora, yeah? Pandora's box, the curses upon all humanity started with her, yeah? There's some connections right there. He was right, though. Yeah, there was a whole lot of people that existed before both Adam and Eve. And they were all the Greek gods, the primordials, the Titans, and the Olympians, all of them. But the story about Zeus is a lie. The story regarding the Zeus, he was killed way earlier on. He didn't even have a chance to, he didn't even slay the Titans, did he? Yeah, he slayed the Titans. He slayed his father, But then he met Metis after the war with the Titans, after overthrowing the Titans, and then that led him to, or the story about him turning Metis into a fly, or Metis into a fly, and ate her. But then somehow Athena was born in his mouth or in his brain, and it gave him a serious headache. Somehow the fly had a human woman inside of the mind of Zeus. Ludicrous. It's all ludicrous to me, but it's out here. Why is it out here the way it is? For the sole purpose of perverting black history, or melanated history, or space-skinned people history. I own the space. I own the space we are in. I own the space that is skin. I own the space we will win. Let's make God great again. What do I mean by I? This I right here. Translation, every youth, everybody. I own the space we are in. So every youth, everybody owns the space we are in. Space. What do I keep saying space? Because it's like the space out there with the black sky. Melanated individuals. Melanated entities. Here. So I'm going to drop you a couple of these real quick after I talked about all of that. And Athena's origin. Athena is the world government leader. I don't know what y'all want to believe in or what y'all want to buy, but Athena is the world government leader. Athena is the mother of harlots from the Bible, or the whore of Babylon. That's Athena. And Athena is also Gaia. Is she also chaos? No. But she is also Sophia. And she is also Ma'at, Enlil, Isis. All of them. Just changed her name up. That's all she did. Our women are nothing like her. I want to give you a couple of these before I close the video out. A couple of these that I just recently did. Kazakhstan. I did some information. I studied some information on Kazakhstan. Let me see what I can comprehend from my own handwriting here. Kazakhstan is located in Central Asia. There we go. The Altai Turkic people. It was dominated by the Kazakhante. Khan. The word Khan is mentioned a lot in that word right there, from that there country, Kazakhstan, the word Khan. Did you know the people, or the so-called recessive people, who are directly responsible for the colonization of Kazakhstan all have a lineage tracing back to Genghis Khan? Genghis Khan. Isn't that crazy? Genghis Khan. What's the year? 1465. Of the Turco-Mongol people of the Turco-Mongol people. It was, they relate to Genghis Khan. It was disestablished in 1847 by the Roman dominance, or by the Roman Empire, or not, by the Russian Empire. Russian. The Russian people are what conquered Kazakhstan. And the date was December 13th, 1917, where they had allowed them to use their little papers and documents to decide how the country is going to be living for the rest of their lives. That's just one of the dates of Roman dominance of Kazakhstan. Kazakhstan received independence from Russia December 16th, 1991, it says. But as you all know, independence is a myth, because independence means the recessive people have groomed you well enough to live on your own without their guidance or without their instruction over you. In other words, they have groomed you well enough to be on auto death pilot. I just wanted to read this information to you and tell you a few of those things and let you know where I'm at. I have made it to the K's in my studies. And after this, I need to memorize, or I need to learn the Bible. Then I need to learn the Torah, and I need to learn the Quran pronto. This is for Black global unity. And eventually, the control of the devil's recessive weapon. All our people will become all our people once again. Shalom, shalom, shalom. May these words reach you for the purpose they were designed and intended to reach you for, your well-being, and as well as unto the awareness of the king, or the emperor, or the soul itself, that protects the grounds of your well-being, upon which it stands on thereof. Peace, love, unity, and advancement to you all, my family.